yesterday in the last session we have started with the chapter number 2, biological classification. In this classification we have focused that why there is a need to classify the living organism, who has started a scientific classification of this living organism, and here the accepted model of classification worldwide is a 5-kingdom classification. This 5-kingdom classification was proposed by R.H. Whittaker, and according to this Whittaker, the living organisms can be classified into 5 kingdoms: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. We have also discussed the characteristics in the previous session. They are classified or they are categorized based on their cell type, nutritional status or mode of nutrition, cell wall. So these are the few criteria based on that they are going to be categorized or classified. Even we have also started with the first kingdom, kingdom Monera, and we have seen the classification. So again starting with the kingdom Monera. You know that the kingdom Monera, they includes a unicellular bacterial cells, and there are different variety of bacterial cells are present. Okay, few of them are coccus in shape, that means spherical. Few are bacillus, means a rod shape. Few are vibrio, means a comma shape, and few are spirillum, that means a spiral shape. So these are the basic 4 shapes of a bacteria that exist. Okay. Even we have also seen that the bacteria are autotrophic as well as heterotrophic. Both category of bacteria are there. They have a very simple organization, but their behavior is very complex. The metabolic process which happens in the bacteria, they also vary from type of bacteria to one type of bacteria to another type of bacteria. So let's see this kingdom Monera, it's divided into how many types and what are their characteristics. So I see start with the first kingdom Monera. As you know that this kingdom Monera is mainly going to be divided into 2 types. There are main important 2 types of a kingdom Monera, subtypes. First is called as Archaebacteria, and the second category is called as Eubacteria. These are the 2 important types or subtypes of a kingdom Monera, Archaebacteria and the Eubacteria. Now you know that this Eubacteria, that is again further subdivided into 3 types. There are 3 types of a Eubacteria. The first category, it's called as Cyanobacteria. Second category, it's called as heterotrophic bacteria. And the third, it's called as a mycoplasma. This is the third category of a bacteria which comes under the Eubacteria. Now we will discuss the characteristic of each type of this bacteria. So starting with the first, it's called as an Archaebacteria. If you see Archaebacteria, so remember one thing, they are the special type of a bacteria. They are the special type bacteria. Why we are calling it as a special type of a bacteria? Because they can live even in extreme conditions. They can live in extreme conditions, so that's why we are calling it as special type of a bacteria. Like in which condition they can live? They can live in a salty area. Okay, they can live in the high temperatures. Like you can say that the hot springs, they can be found over there. Okay, they can also be found in the cow dung. Okay, so these are some kind of conditions where it can be found. So those who are found into a salty area, this kind of a bacteria, they are called as halophils. Those who found or that can resist the high temperature, usually the bacteria doesn't resist the high temperature, but these are the special type of a bacteria. They can resist the high temperature. Okay, they are called as thermoacidophil. Okay, next there are also some bacteria which can also produce the gas, and we are calling it as methanogens. These are the few examples. I again repeat, which are the examples? The first example is the halophils, the second example is thermoacidophils, and the third example is called as methanogens. Okay, clear? Halophiles can live in a salty area. Thermoacidophils, they can live in a high temperature like hot spring, and the methanogens, they are responsible for production of a methane gas. So they are a special type of a bacteria. This special characteristic, why they can survive into so much extreme conditions. This extreme condition, the survival is due to their survival in extreme condition. The survival in extreme condition is due to their cell wall. Due to what? Due to their cell wall, they can survive into an extreme conditions. They have such an organization or such a structure of a cell wall. Due to this cell wall, they can even survive into an extreme conditions. Let's talk about the methanogens. You know that methanogens means those bacteria which are capable of producing a methane gas. They are called as a methanogens. So what are methanogens? Methanogens are the bacteria which are capable of producing a methane gas. They are called as methanogens. Where this bacteria are found? These methanogens are found in rumen of cattle. It's found in the rumen of cattle. Okay, cattle means animals like buffalo, cow. These are considered as cattle. Okay, so these are the animals in which it can found into their rumen. Okay, it's found into their rumen. Rumen, that means it's a part of a stomach. If you see the stomach of a cow or the buffalo, it's divided into 4 compartments. Okay, and one of the compartment is a rumen. In this rumen, you can find these methanogens. Okay, and as it is found into a methanogens, it can be easily found in the cow dung, or you can say, I use a generalized word that is called as cattle dung. It can be easily found into a cattle dung, and that's why we are using this cattle dung to produces a biogas. Why biogas? Because in the biogas that means a gas that is produced by the living organism. We are calling it as a biogas. Here, these bacteria, methanogens, are capable of producing the gas. Okay, which gas? Here the primary gas is the methane gas, CH4. Methane gas is produced by them. Okay, so that's why it is called as methanogens, or they are helpful in the production of a biogas. This is the most important use of this methanogens, which can be found in the rumen of cattle. Okay, so this is regarding the first kind of a bacteria. You can say call it as archaebacteria. Okay, I again repeat, what are the characteristics of this archaebacteria? The archaebacteria, they are the special type of a bacteria. Why we are calling it as a special? Because they can survive the very extreme conditions. Like it can survive in salty area, which are called as halophiles. It can survive even at high temperatures. They are called thermoacidophils. Even some of them are capable of producing the methane gas or biogas, what we are calling it as methanogens. Okay, why they can survive in such extreme condition? Because the composition of their cell wall is such that they can withstand with such extreme condition. Okay. These methanogens, where you can find? These methanogens can be found in the rumen of cattle. Okay, so that's why it is also found in the cattle dung or the cow dung, and we are using this cow dung to generate the biogas. Okay, in the common language we are also calling it as gobar gas, because the cattle dung or the cow dung in our local language is called as gobar. From this gobar we generate a gas. Okay, with the use of this bacteria, that is methanogens. Okay, and that's why we can also call it as gobar gas. Okay, so that's all about the characteristics of archaebacteria. I hope so it is clear to everyone what is an archaebacteria. Okay, that is the first type of kingdom Monera, and you know that kingdom Monera includes all the type of bacteria. Now the second category of kingdom Monera is eubacteria. The eubacteria can also be called as, this is another name of eubacteria, it can also be called as true bacteria. They are the real bacteria. They follow the characteristic of all the bacteria. Here they are specials. Okay, they are special. But here these are the true bacteria. Okay. So what is the common characteristic of this all eubacteria? There are 2 common characteristics which you can find. First characteristic you can find in all this a special thing, that is they all have a cell wall. They all have a cell wall. A non-cellular cell wall is present. Their cell wall is made up of polysaccharides and the amino acids. Such non-cellular kind of a cell wall you can find in it. And if this bacteria is a motile, then you can also find the flagella. These two components you can find in all kind of a bacteria, cell wall and the flagella. But flagella is only found if the bacteria is motile. Motile means capable of moving. Then and there you can find this flagella. Okay. Now this bacteria is further classified into three types. First is called as cyanobacteria. Second is called as heterotrophic bacteria. The third one is called as mycoplasma. How many types? Three types. Cyanobacteria, heterotrophic bacteria and the mycoplasma. Okay. Let's start with the first one. What we are calling it as cyanobacteria. Okay. So let's start with the first one, cyanobacteria. So what is the cyanobacteria? The cyanobacteria, they are also called as blue-green algae. This is the another name of cyanobacteria. What it can also be called as blue-green algae. Okay, this is the another name of cyanobacteria. This cyanobacteria, it possesses chlorophyll A molecule. What it contains? It contains a chlorophyll A molecule. This molecule, chlorophyll A molecule, is similar chlorophyll which is present in the plants. This chlorophyll molecule is similarly what you can observe into a plants. Same type of chlorophyll molecule or chlorophyll A molecule you can find in this blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria. And you know the function of chlorophyll. The chlorophyll is responsible for generation of a food. They can prepare their food by themselves because here they contain a chlorophyll. And that's why this cyanobacteria are also called as photosynthetic bacteria. They are called as photosynthetic bacteria. That means here the mode of nutrition is autotrophic in nature. What kind of mode of nutrition? They have an autotrophic mode of nutrition is there. Okay, clear? I hope so. I am again repeating. Cyanobacteria can also be called as blue-green algae. These are the bacteria which contains a chlorophyll A molecule. Same chlorophyll A molecule you can also find in a plant. You know that plant perform a photosynthesis due to this molecule, chlorophyll A. So here the bacteria can also perform a photosynthesis, okay, due to this chlorophyll A, okay, and that's why the mode of nutrition is autotrophic. So these bacteria are such that they prepare their food by themselves, okay, due to presence of chlorophyll A molecule, okay. So this is cyanobacteria. Now let's discuss the more characteristic. Before I discuss the more characteristic, I just rub it out. So you can write over here. Now if you discuss the more other characteristic of this cyanobacteria, now what are the other characteristics you can find into this cyanobacteria? So the other characteristic you can find into a cyanobacteria is that first, it is a photosynthetic. It is a photosynthetic. Okay, they are photosynthetic in nature. Okay, they are autotrophic, they are photosynthetic. Okay, or they can also be a chemisynthetic. Okay, here the photosynthetic means they prepare their food with the help of sunlight. Okay, and they store a food. This bacteria, the cyanobacteria, they store a food in a specialized cell called, what it can be called? It can be called as heterocyst. Where it can store a food? They store the food in a specialized cell. Okay, they prepare a food with the help of chlorophyll A molecule and in presence of sunlight, and they store the food in the specialized cell, and this is called as heterocyst. This specialized cell where the bacteria stores the food called as heterocyst. Now what happens if you see this bacteria? What are the characteristics? Obviously it's a bacteria, so I'm writing over here. What are their characteristics? It is a bacteria, so obviously it is unicellular. Okay, they are the unicellular, but they are found either in the filament or colonies. There is not a single cell. Every living organism in this kingdom Monera or this cyanobacteria, they are unicellular, means made up of one cell. But how they appear in the form of filament or they appear in the form of colonies. I am just drawing over here. This is a colonies. This is a one bacteria. This is the another bacteria, third bacteria, fourth bacteria, fifth, sixth, seventh. So this is the colonies you can find. Okay, either it can be found in the form of filament or the colonies. This filament and the colonies, they are surrounded by a sheath, a gelatinous sheath. It is surrounded by gelatinous sheath. Such kind of a covering you can find surrounding to themselves. Okay, clear, which protect themselves. So here you can find a gelatinous sheath. It's made up of gelatin, so that's why we are calling it as gelatinous sheath. Such kind of a sheath you can find in it. Now where this bacteria can be found? This bacteria can also be found in a water. Okay, in a water specifically they are found in a sea, so they are the marine, or it may be a aquatic. It may be a not aquatic or terrestrial. In a aquatic it is a marine. In aquatic means those who can live in a water. Even in water there are two kind of a water. One is fresh water and the second one is marine water. So they are found in the marine water, means sea water. So that means you can say call it as aquatic. But I am specifying that even in aquatic they can found in a marine water, or that can be a terrestrial, that can also found on the land. So this is characteristic. They are unicellular, they are filament shape or the colonies. Okay, they are found in a marine or terrestrials, and they are covered by a sheath or protective sheath, what we are calling as gelatinous sheath. The examples of this cyanobacteria are, the examples are Nostoc and Anabaena. These are the two examples, Nostoc and the Anabaena. Here they prepare the food and they store in a specialized cell. I am showing that this is a specialized cell where it's stored. And you know that what it can be called? It can be called as heterocyst. What it can be called? Heterocyst. Okay? So this has heterocyst, or this Nostoc and Anabaena, they prepare the food because they possess the chlorophyll A and store in a specialized cell called as heterocyst. Now, these are regarding the photosynthetic cyanobacteria. Means they prepare the food with the help of sunlight, and they have a chlorophyll A. But there are also few cyanobacteria, we are chemisynthetic. Okay, they are chemisynthetic. Chemisynthetic, that means they can also prepare a food by themselves. They are also autotrophic in nature. But here they prepare the food by themselves with the use of some inorganic material. Inorganic material. They use the inorganic material like nitrite, nitrate, okay, such kind of a material, or ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, ammonium, they utilize it. Okay, they break down this inorganic material and they derive this energy from it. This energy that is going to be utilized to prepare a food themselves. So this kind of bacteria you can find the cyanobacteria or the chemisynthetic bacteria. And here they maintain the you can say a mineral cycle. They maintain the level of phosphorus, nitrogen, iron, sulfur, such kind of the minerals they are going to be maintained. The levels are maintained by this chemisynthetic because they are responsible for breakdown. They breaks the inorganic material, they derive the energy from it. So the cycle of that mineral gets completed, and during meantime, through this energy, they generate the food for themselves. Okay, that's what happens. And such kind of a bacteria called as chemisynthetic. They are also cyanobacteria. They are also called as cyanobacteria. I hope so. It is clear, all of you, regarding the characteristics of cyanobacteria. Okay. Now I am moving ahead with another kind of a eubacteria. It is heterotrophic bacteria. Next is heterotrophic bacteria. Okay, clear? So the next type is heterotrophic bacteria. Now what are the characteristics of this heterotrophic bacteria? Here itself it has been written they are not autotrophic, they are heterotrophic, means they cannot prepare the food by themselves. Here the mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. And in heterotrophic, most of the times they are decomposers. Okay, you know that the heterotrophic organism can be also different types. It may be a saprophytic, it may be parasitic, it may be holozoic, or it may be a decomposer. Such kind of materials are there. Okay, so here this heterotrophic bacteria, they are mostly acting as a decomposers, and during a decomposition or during a breakdown of the organic material, they derive their energy or they get their food. So they depend on the others for their food requirement. So that's why we are calling it as, here the mode of nutrition is heterotrophic. Okay, so they have a heterotrophic mode of nutrition. This bacteria, heterotrophic bacteria, they can be utilized in a lots of way. There are lots of you can say utilization or the query, because most of the bacteria are heterotrophic in nature. There are very few bacteria which are cyanobacteria or photosynthetic or autotrophic in nature. Most of the bacteria you can find in a nature are heterotrophic, and so that's why it has even many uses. It's not like that the bacteria are always harmful. They also are useful to us. So I am showing you few useful effects, and even I will also show you their harmful effects. Okay, so what is the first useful effect? Here they are also used for preparation of curd from milk. The lactobacillus, okay, lactobacillus, this is a bacteria which is used to prepare a curd from a milk. Okay, clear? So they are used for the preparation of a curd. Second, they are also used for the preparation of antibiotic. Antibiotic, what is antibiotic? The antibiotic are the substances, they are active against the bacteria. They kill the bacteria or they prevent the growth of bacteria. We are calling it as antibiotic. So suppose if you have some infection, some bacterial infection, you take a medicine to kill this bacteria or prevent their growth in your body. What these chemicals are called as antibiotic. This antibiotic can also be prepared by them. Okay, so this is also called as heterotrophic bacteria. Like I will give you one example, the bacteria from which you can prepare it. Like say tetracycline. The tetracycline is an antibiotic that is prepared from this bacteria. Okay, or you can say aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides are the antibiotic, they are prepared from the bacteria. Okay, so they are also helpful in the preparation of antibiotics. Even these are the beneficial uses. There are many uses that you will learn in the standard 12, but here we are just discussing the two main important uses. Even these are the bacteria which are also responsible for causing a disease. So they can also cause a disease like cholera, typhoid or tetanus, cramps and many things. They are going to be occurred by this heterotrophic bacteria, like the typhoid. Okay, the typhoid is caused by the bacteria. Cholera is caused by a Vibrio cholera. Pneumonia is caused by bacteria, pneumococcus bacteria or the streptococcus bacteria or the Haemophilus influenza. Okay, so these are the few examples, okay, which can also cause a disease. Okay, so you should stay away from such disease causing the bacteria because they are harmful to you. Okay, so these heterotrophic bacteria usually found in the nature. Few of them are useful to a human being and few are the harmful to a human being. Okay, so we have to use them. Now how this bacteria they reproduces? This bacteria they usually reproduces by a method called as fission. Okay, fission means a breakdown. That means how they occur. See, if this is a bacteria, okay, this is a unicellular bacteria, then the breakdown occurs and that leads to a formation of two bacteria like this. So this is called as a fission, a simple. This one is called a simple binary fission. Binary fission means it generates a two. Even multiple fission can also occur. In multiple fission, the lots of bacteria are going to be produced. So usually the bacteria they reproduces by this process. Okay, that is called as a fission, and the fission is a kind of a asexual reproduction. Which kind of reproduction it is? Asexual reproduction. So this is the usual method they adopt for reproduction. But where there is an unfavorable condition. This is a reproduction which occurs in a favorable condition, means a condition which is favorable for the growth of microbe or bacteria. But when there is an unfavorable condition, in the unfavorable condition, they reproduces by sporulation. By which method? Sporulation. That means they reproduces by formation of a spore. Okay, they reproduces by the formation of a spore, and this method is called as sporulation. But the sporulation occurs when? The sporulation occurs when there is an unfavorable condition provided to a bacteria. In that conditions, the sporule or bacteria reproduces by sporulation. But the usual method of reproduction in bacteria is a fission. I hope so it is clear. So this is about the heterotrophic bacteria. I again repeat, they are heterotrophic. They cannot prepare the food themselves. They depend on the other for their food requirements. They are used for the preparation of a curd. They are used for the preparation of antibiotic. They are also harmful. They can also cause the diseases like cholera, typhoid, pneumonia, cranks, tetanus, many more. They reproduce by fission in a normal conditions. They also reproduce by sporulation in unfavorable condition. Both are the kind of asexual mode of reproduction. That means you can say that the heterotrophic bacteria, they reproduces asexual. Sometimes you can also find very preliminary type of sexual reproduction in heterotrophic bacteria. You know that bacterial cell has a pili, okay, or the fimbriae. That pili is helping in the conjugations, and through conjugations they transfer the material from one bacterium to another bacterium. So they sometimes they also show very preliminary type of a sexual reproduction as well. So this is called as heterotrophic bacteria, okay, which is also a type of a eubacteria. The third type of a eubacteria is a mycoplasma. The third type is a mycoplasma. So let's discuss the mycoplasma. You already know that we have learned in the chapter number 8. The mycoplasma, they are the smallest living organisms. Okay, they are the bacteria, they are the smallest living organism. They are prokaryotic cells. Okay, clear? This is the smallest living organism that exists in the world. That is the mycoplasma. Okay, so you can assume that even they are much smaller. Okay, they are smaller than the regular bacteria. Okay, so they are the smallest living organism. Okay, second thing is that they do not have a cell wall. So they lack cell wall. Cell wall is absent over here. Here you can see the cyanobacteria has a cell wall, the heterotrophic bacteria has a cell wall, but the mycoplasma do not have a cell wall. Okay, they are so special that they can also survive. They can survive without I am saying without oxygen. Okay, normally you know that the oxygen is the requirement for the survival. Okay, oxygen is the requirement for any living organism, but these are the special type of a bacteria. Even they can also survive in absence of oxygen, or without oxygen they can survive. Okay, and few mycoplasma are such that they are pathogenic to humans and the animals. Okay, so few are the pathogenic, means they are able to cause a disease. So these are the characteristics of the mycoplasma. They are the smallest living organism. They lack a cell wall. They can survive without the oxygen. Okay, so that's all about the eubacteria. Okay, and here we finish with the kingdom Monera. Okay, so I hope so you understand what is a kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera includes two main parts: Archaebacteria and the eubacteria. Archaebacteria are the special type of a bacteria which can live in the extreme conditions, what we have mentioned. The eubacteria, they are the real true bacteria which can be further divided into three types: cyanobacteria, heterotrophic bacteria, mycoplasma. Cyanobacteria are the autotrophic. They prepare their food by themselves, can also be called as blue green algae. The heterotrophic bacteria, they are heterotrophic, cannot prepare the food by themselves. And the mycoplasma, they are the smallest living organisms. They do not have a cell wall, and even they can survive without oxygen. Okay, few of them are the pathogenic in nature, which cause a disease to humans and the animals. So this is all about the characteristics of kingdom Monera. Students, learn it thoroughly. In the next session, we will learn the kingdom Protista. We will move ahead with the next kingdom. It's called as a kingdom Protista. We can call it as unicellular eukaryotic cell. This kingdom Monera, if I want to tell you in the single word, what this kingdom Monera? This kingdom Monera is called as unicellular prokaryotes. Unicellular prokaryotes. All are unicellular and they all are the prokaryotes. But the next kingdom what we will discuss, that is kingdom Protista, they are unicellular but they are eukaryotes. So the kingdom Protista is shortly called as unicellular eukaryotes. That we will discuss in the next session. Till then students, keep learning, keep watching, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching.